I didn't have much of an opinion on Skyhook Games because, for the longest time, I only owned 2 of their add-ons for Train Sim World. These days, I think their overall DLC quality is pretty average outside of the Midland mainline, but their most recent product caught my eye, so I thought I'd make a video about it. This is an overview of, and my 2 cents on, the Cargo Line Volume 5 Nuclear add-on. CL5 was finally released on the 19th of November 2025, and it's available on Steam for £13, or 25 New Zealand dollars, at full price, so that means that it costs the same as normal locomotive add-ons like the Class 220 Voyager and New Jersey Transit ALP 45DP. Normally, I don't buy TSW add-ons at launch unless I find them sufficiently interesting, and I don't know about you, but personally, I wasn't happy with Dovetail's decision to hold this add-on back until TSW 6. More than anything else, it comes across as a desperate attempt to increase download or sales figures for this quote-unquote new iteration of the gradually sinking TSW franchise. Anyway, I wasn't interested in the previous Cargo Line packs, which are similarly expensive to Volume 5, and it doesn't help that all 4 of them included a DB Cargo UK variant of the Class 66, a locomotive that has been recycled and resold in so many TSW add-ons that it's beyond ridiculous. I am aware of another UK freight locomotive that's coming to TSW, namely the Class 90, but I will not be buying the add-on because of my reservations against ATS. For context, I recommend watching Maverick Hunter Daniel's video on the Class 745. This time, Skyhook included a new variant of the Class 20 diesel locomotive, otherwise known as the Chopper due to the sound of her prime mover. This model depicts the refurbished Class 20/3 as she was in the early 2000s, albeit without direct rail services branding, and she has numerous differences from the Rail Freight Red Stripe variant, which was released in June 2020 as an add-on for the Tees Valley line. For whatever reason, Dovetail only bothered including a variant with head-code discs in that original Class 20 pack. Fortunately, a variant equipped with the Domino head-code box is finally in the works, as part of Just Trains' upcoming West Coast Mainline Preston to Crewe route. Skyhook missed a trick by not including refurbished DRS variants of the Class 37, which certainly would have sweetened the deal, but I suppose a refurbished Class 20 is still better than getting the Class 66 for the 69 quadrillionth time. As an aside, I'm lucky to have seen a few Class 20s in person, but none of them were the refurbished ex-DRS locomotives. Incidentally, one of the choppers I did see was the Class Leader, D8000. As for why I was interested in Cargo Line Volume 5 in the first place, it's not just because of the new Class 20 variant, but also its inclusion of the FNA nuclear flask wagon. I live in New Zealand, a country that doesn't have any nuclear power stations, so I find the concept of nuclear flask trains to be quite, for want of a better word, fascinating. I was lucky to see 2 nuclear flask trains on the 23rd of April 2025, and what follows is the footage of those 2 workings, one at Dalston and the other at Carnforth. Cargo Line Volume 5 only adds additional gameplay on 3 routes, namely West Coast Main Line London to Milton Keynes, by Dovetail, WCML Preston to Carlisle by Just Trains, and the Riviera line Exeter to Plymouth and Paignton by Dovetail with help from Rivet Games. The Preston to Carlisle route gets 14 additional timetable mode services, which represents the nuclear flask trains running to and from Sellafield. Since the DRS Class 20 is incorrect for the time period on this route, which is set in 1986, the new services are instead hauled by Class 47s with Mark I BGs as barrier vehicles. These services join the West Coast Main Line at Carnforth and run to either Carlisle, Preston, or, in the case of this particular service, Morecambe. As an aside, the absence of the Heysham branch is one of the few things I don't like about Just Trains' otherwise excellent route. Meanwhile, nuclear flask trains on the WCML London to Milton Keynes route are actually hauled by Class 20s, and these are drivable between Willesden Junction and Milton Keynes, as part of services going north to Crewe or south to Dungeness. The trouble is that this gameplay pack only adds 4 new services to the WCML South route, and I'm pretty sure that the DRS Class 20 is incorrect for the time period on this route, which, if I recall correctly, takes place sometime after DRS retired the Class 20s in 2017. Not helping the situation is a noticeable loop for the AWS alarms audio, a bug that I don't recall seeing before. And as you saw in the intro, the Class 20 was moving with the headlights off on an AI service. Speaking of the lights, I noticed that the keyboard command for the headlight switch doesn't work when you're in the control stand facing the long hood, only at the opposite control stand. You have to click and drag the switch instead, but even when you do that, it'll still control the lights at the cab end, not the long hood end. The same issue does not apply to the tail lights. In all honesty, I'm quite disappointed with the Cargo Line Volume 5 Nuclear add-on for Train Sim World 6. CL5 is far too expensive for what it is, since you're only getting a refurbished variant of a locomotive that we already have, 1 newly modelled freight wagon, 5 scenarios, and only 18 timetable mode services across the 2 WCML routes. Like I said earlier, this one costs the same amount of money as normal locomotive add-ons, and now that I think about it, previous gameplay packs, such as the Railhead Treatment Train, Europhoenix Class 37, and even that silver reskin for the London Underground 1972 stock, are far more reasonably priced by comparison. To be fair, I think Skyhook did well with modelling on the FNA wagon, and the Class 20 doesn't look too bad either, but good looks don't change the fact that, outside of free roam mode, you can only run the refurbished Class 20 in 2 scenarios and 4 services on 1 route, and a mediocre route at that. If you still want to try Skyhook's new gameplay pack for yourself, I highly recommend waiting until you can get it at a steep discount. In its current state, I think this add-on deserves a 4.8 out of 10, and if you've stuck around to the end of the video, you win an airline started by Richard Branson and Madonna. It's like a Virgin Atlantic,